Alrighty, everybody, welcome to our eBay broadcast tonight. My name is Trevor, and I'm going to be hosting. We're going to be talking about pricing as it relates to doing some retail drop shipping. So the question I always get is, okay, if I take a product from Amazon or a product from Walmart or a Target or choose that retailer, how do I know what to price those products for? Is there a formula or is there something I can go by to help me do that? Let me first say this. Your goal in most cases, and this is just sort of a very general goal, so keep this in mind. Your goal is you want to make between 10 to 20% profit after every sale you make doing retail drop shipping. So that means if I sell a product for $100, I want to make somewhere in the neighborhood of between $10 and $20 profit. And when I say profit, I mean after fees and shipping and sales tax and PayPal and every other fee associated with selling something. Okay. So that's the first thing. That's usually our goal. If you want to achieve that goal, and if you want to do it very easily and simply, your general strategy should be right around a 1.4 multiple. We're going to call it. Okay. Or if that's confusing, we're going to call this a 40% markup. Okay. So let's do an example of what I mean here. Okay. So let's say we're here at Walmart and we're going to list the first item I see here, which is this inversal decline bench here, and it's listed at $51.12. Okay. So $51.12. How do we price this thing? And how do we price it in a way that we're not losing money? First of all, right? We don't want to lose money on our stuff. That should be your first goal, not your only goal. Your real goal should be, how do I make between 10 and 20% on this thing? Well, there's some things that we got to consider first. Before I do any calculations on this thing, I want to figure out first if there's free shipping here. Okay. So if I add this to my cart, let's actually view my cart here. I've got some other stuff in my cart, which is why this isn't being accurate for me. Let me remove some of this other stuff here. There we go. Now we're good. Okay, so you'll notice here, if I add this to my cart, I get some estimates from Walmart, which is nice. And most retailers you can do this with. But if you'll see here where I'm circling in red, you'll see some estimates. It's saying my subtotal is $51.12. My sales tax estimated is going to be around $4, and there's going to be no shipping expense. Okay, so if I'm doing calculations here, let me erase my drawings here. Let's go back to my notes, and so we'll say, for example, one. We've got an item at $51.12 and no shipping. Okay, so the calculation would be very simple here. Do this, guys. $51.12, multiply that by 1.4, and what does that equal for us? This is a 40% markup on the item. Okay, so $51.12 times 1.4 equals about $72. So we're going to say $71.99 would be our sale price. Okay. See how easy that was? Raw price plus any associated shipping. In this case, we don't have any shipping, so really all we do is we do the raw price and we multiply it by 1.4. That should give us a sale price. Let's see if I'm right, though, because some of you say, well, what's 1.4? Why are we not doing 1.5 or 1.3? It's not arbitrarily chosen. A 40% markup is generally pretty good here because it'll account for sales tax on the item. it's going to account for eBay fees and PayPal fees. Those are the big things that we're concerned about. Shipping aside, shipping in this case is free, so it doesn't matter. So if I were to sell this for $71.99, okay, let's look at what our fees would actually be. Well, eBay is going to be 10% for most of you guys. So let's multiply that by 10%. That's what, $7.20. Okay. PayPal is going to be what? $71.99 times 71.99 times 0.029. Okay, so that's going to be $2.09. Sales tax. Sales tax, we had an estimate there, right, of $345. But I usually take your original price, $51.12, and multiply that by about 10%. So I'm going to estimate sales tax around $5. We don't actually know what it's going to be, right? Because it really depends on where the item's being shipped. So $7.20. Let's just add these together. $7.20 plus $2.09 plus 5 equals $14.29 in fees. So if you put all your math together, you get a pretty good idea of how much you're going to make off of this thing. So let's do it. $71.99 is our sales price, minus $14.29 in fees, and then minus $51.12 is our original cost. We're going to make a whopping $6.58. Okay. Now, is that a good profit or a bad profit? What do you guys think? We happy with that or not happy with that? Well, I'll tell you how I evaluate it. I'll take our profit, in this case, $6.58, and I'm going to divide it by my sale price of $71.99. And this is equaling about 10% or so. It's about a 10% profit in this case, which is okay, right? In the retail dropshipping space, your margins aren't real high, which is why when most of you guys ask, well, hey, wait a minute, what should I be charging for my stuff? In most cases, I'm going to say, well, be aggressive and do at least about a 40% markup. Because if you'll do it like this, like I just showed you guys how to do it right here, you'll make a little bit of money, but you won't make much. And the whole reason why we're not making much on this thing is the original price is $51.12. I can't expect to make a fortune off of that, right? I can't expect to be making doubling my income off of an item that I'm selling for $51. It's just not going to happen. It's not reasonable. I tell you guys this all the time, that price doesn't matter all that much, but let's be real, it does have some pull here, and we can't go crazy. So if you're looking for higher profit items and you think to yourself, well, $6.58, that's not worth my time, well, let's look at something else then. Let's look at something that's a little more on the expensive side, okay? Should we take this right here? Okay. So we've got this this exercise bike listed at $399.99. Now notice there's a list price here of higher, but if you're not managing a lot of listings, it doesn't hurt to do this price and then just to watch it and make sure it doesn't fluctuate. Okay, so $399.99. So for the ease of our example here, we'll just say the cost on it is $400. Let's add it to the cart. I believe shipping is free on it. Actually, it is. I mean, we don't necessarily even need to add this to our cart because you can see shipping is free, right? So free shipping on this item. Let's go back to our notes for just a second. Okay. So $400 is our price point. Okay, given the same example, we're going to take our 400 and let's multiply to get a sales price. 1.4. We're going to try to sell this thing for somewhere in the neighborhood of $560. Okay, at a 1.4 markup. Well, if we sell it for $560, let's look through our fees one more time. I'm just going to copy this little chart right here. eBay's 10%, PayPal is 3%, sales tax is whatever sales tax is. On the high side, 10%, but it's more likely that it's like 8%. So let's take eBay. So that's $5.60, right? Or wait, I'm sorry. No. $560 times eBay's 10%. That's $56. Almost made a big mistake there. So 56 for eBay fees. 560 times 0.029. That's $16 for PayPal fees. That's about a 3%. And then sales tax, let's be more realistic, probably more around like 8, maybe 9%. Let's do 9% just to be safe. That's about $50 in sales tax. Okay, we good with that, guys? That makes sense. So we can add these together to get our total cost. 56 plus 16 plus 50, that equals 122 in expense, plus the $400 original fee equals $522. Okay, fair enough. So 560 minus 522, we're making, of course, we're selling it for 560, right? We're making a $38 profit. Is that something to get excited about? Well, it's certainly better than $6, right? It's not the highest profit in the world. Let's figure out if it's good or bad. Let's go 38 divided by 560, and our margins really aren't too good there. 38 divided by 560, we're a little low, right? We're about 7% as a profit margin. Okay, now I think that's low. We remember our target earlier. We said between 10 and 20. So if I'm getting a lower margin on this item after I've done my math, you don't have to redo it with a higher multiple. What I would do is I'd say, okay, well, if I'm selling it for $560, I'll tell you what, I'm going to bump it up. I'm going to sell it for $599.99 and see how I do then. And that sounds a bit arbitrary, and it kind of is, because look, when you're selling something that's already that expensive, what's another $30 on it? Often it's nothing. Often that $30 isn't going to encourage or deter anybody from buying the item. And often, you know, when you're selling products on eBay, it's all about the right person coming along at the right time and finding it towards the top of eBay. So while I would say that, yes, you know, we're targeting around a 10 to 20% margin, if you want to bump it up a little bit like this and you're a little on the low side with my 1.4 multiple, and you want to start doing a 1.45 or even a 1.5 multiple, do it, right? And the worst case is it's not going to sell, and then we can always drop the price a little bit in the future. But what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to obsess over price right now, and this is what so many of you do. So many of you get caught up on, how do I know what the perfect price is? And the perfect price, you know, doesn't exist. It's too subjective. You know, you learn in your Econ 101, you know, a little bit about pricing and how to find the perfect price. Because, you know, if a price is too high, although your profit might be high, your sales volume goes down. If your price is too low, while you might close a lot of sales and have a lot of volume, your profits are too little. And so you got to find that perfect point in the middle. And economics teaches you how to find that point. But that's, you can't do it that way here. I mean, there's no way to really quantitatively come up with that. So you have to use a little intuition. You use what I showed you as a base here of a 1.4 multiplier, which is a 40% increase. Maybe you dabble with 45, maybe even 50. That's going to be plenty. And if you'll do that, usually your pricing will be right around where it needs to be. And a lot of you are going to say, well, hold on just a minute here, Trevor. You're selling this for, what you suggested at $599.99. Somebody could go and get that on Walmart for $200 less, right? And the answer is yes, they could. Will they? Who knows, right? I always use this example, but it's true. Amazon is easily the most popular e-commerce site out there right now, but it is not the cheapest. If people wanted the cheapest products out there, they wouldn't necessarily be on Amazon because statistically it's not. Walmart is cheaper. Oftentimes eBay is cheaper. So, yes, I don't want to mitigate and marginalize the value of pricing, because you still have to price something low enough to encourage a purchase. But if the situation and circumstances are right, you have the right buyer come along, you're at the right price, and you're in the right location on eBay using good keywords and marketing, you'll still sell the item. So I really think for you guys right now, if I want to keep it clean and simple, I do that 1.4, maybe 1.5 multiplier, okay? Barbara, eBay doesn't require a 30%. They require 30% if you're doing an auction. So if I'm selling an item and starting an auction at let's say I'm starting my auction at $50, right? But I also want to have a buy it now on there, then I have to be 30% higher on my buy it now. So I'd have to multiply that by 1.3. I'd have to have my buy it now set at 65. Auction at 50 and at least 65 is a buy it now. That's what that means. Yeah, Pat, I can go over the eBay and PayPal fees again. Let's do one more example real quick, and then we'll finish up. Let's pull this one from Amazon this time. Let's go Amazon, and let's go to Home and Garden. Given the time of year, let's check out their patio. Let's grab a deck box. And I'm going to grab one at random here. Let's grab this one right here. Okay, this is totally at random here. Okay. Okay, shipping on this thing is going to be free. Whoops, sorry, I'm clicking around. Okay, so let's just do the numbers on it. Now notice the list price. I know this is kind of small for you guys, but just trust me when I say the list price is at 110. Okay? Let's do our Amazon example. 110 is list price, but the actual price isn't 110. The actual price is 90. So what one should I base it on? Well, do it on the $90 price. Assume that, because on Amazon, in most cases, they give an inflated list and a lower sale price, and it's not actually on sale or anything. It's just that's their normal price. Okay. All right. So if that's the case, and assuming, let's assume there's shipping on this. Okay. So for the sake of this example, let's assume shipping is going to be $15. Okay. Well, then what I would assume that we would do here is I would take $90 and I would multiply this. Let's increase our multiplier a little bit by 1.45, okay? So we'll do 90 times 1.45, a 45% markup, which is going to give me a $31 sale price. But I need to add in shipping there too. So I add in shipping after the fact. So I take my 131 and I add in 15 for shipping. That's going to be a $146 sale price. Okay, that makes sense so far, guys. That's how we include the shipping in there. And I could leave it at that, and I could list it for sale. I don't need to worry about all the fees and all the other stuff. But to help you guys understand, let's look at what the fees would be. So at 146 sale price, We need eBay fees, we need PayPal fees, and we need sales tax. Okay, eBay is easy. That's 10%, right? So 0.10, 10%, 0.10, multiply that by 146, which is my sale price. eBay fees are going to be $14.60, right? PayPal, 146, multiply that by 0.03. That's 3%. I could have done the 0.029, but let's do the 0.03 for 3%. That's $4, roughly $4.50. Okay. And then let's run the sales tax. So we'll say about 9% on this. 146 times 0.09. That's going to be about $13. Okay, there's your fees. So let's add these together. 1460 plus, whoops, 14, whoa, my calculator is having a problem here. 1460 plus 450 plus 13. Nope, that's not right. There we go, 3210. Does that look right? Whoops, 3210. Yeah, that should be right. Yep, that's right. Okay, 3210 is my total fees on this, right? Plus shipping. So we're forgetting about shipping here. I should add shipping to the mix. Shipping is 15. So let's add that in. 3210 plus $15 of shipping. That's 4710. So those are your fees. Now, remember, this is still going to cost me $90 to buy. So 90 plus 4710 equals 137. Right? Make sure that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yep, 137. So if you minus the 146 on it, we're not making a ton, right? Make $9 on this thing. So again, your margins are pretty thin on lower priced items. That's just the way it is. So we encourage you, as you grow your eBay business, to focus on higher ticket items so it's more worth your time. If you have a store chock full of $400, $500, $600 items, every time you make a sale, you're making some money. If you're loading up your store full of these $50, $100, $150 items that are a little on the low side, it's hard to make money with that strategy. The trouble is, for some of you guys, limits won't allow you to have a store chock full of higher ticket items. So you have to kind of work within the confines of your current eBay account. Gradually, the strategy should be at the beginning, sell some cheaper items, build up your account, build up some trust and credibility in the eBay community, and then transition over into higher priced items where you can really actually make some money. And that's what our clients do. So have some patience with the strategy. Don't be discouraged if you close a sale and only make, in this case, $8 or $9. Yeah, I know you're not going to be able to pay the bills off of that, but it's going to build the account so that you can consistently sell $400, $500, $600 items where you only have to sell 3 or 4 a day, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're making $200 a day or whatever it is. And that's what makes the retail dropshipping strategy worth it. So yes, it does underscore the need to maybe have some wholesale suppliers, which we'll work on as we go. But at least at the beginning here, this is the way to approach it. So keep it simple. You don't have to run through all the numbers like I just did. You just have to trust the process. If your sale price is at $90, multiply it by 1.4, or in this case 1.45, and you should be okay. And that'll keep you profitable, okay? And then you don't have to run through all the numbers and worry about what your margins are. I wanted to show you that so you guys have the intuition behind it, okay? Okay, guys, that should be good enough. Work on your pricing. Don't stress about it. Hopefully that helps. Pat, you say I've been doing my prices totally wrong. What I've been doing is rating 1.4 after adding sales tax. Yeah, I mean, but it's not wrong, Pat. It just means your margins are going to be a little bit higher. Your prices aren't bad. You're just on the higher side, which is fine. It's easier to be on the higher side and lower your prices than be on the low side and increase your prices. So no, I think you're fine. Pat's basically saying she's adding in her sales tax and then multiplying by her 1.4, and that's just going to increase your margin a little bit. If you want to be on the higher side, remember, we're targeting between 10 and 20%. What I'm showing you right here is going to keep you on the low side, more around 8, 9, 10%. What you're doing would keep you on the higher side, maybe a little closer to 14, 15%, which is fine. So no, you're doing it just fine, Pat. Keep it up. And if you want to run some of these numbers and make sure you're in that neighborhood, that's what you should do. So hopefully that was helpful. We can do more examples of these later, but this should keep you on the straight and narrow. Good luck with your pricing strategy.